So, Commanders family, man. So, we got some news that just came out per Jordan Schultz. The Commanders are apparently shopping Brian Robinson Jr. and they're trying to find a trade partner for him. This is interesting. This is very interesting news, but to be honest, how interesting is this? All this news is we're shopping them. Now, this late into the off season, into training camp, it's kind of strange because, that means he said that they are actively looking for trade partners. So they're calling everyone to figure out what they can get for Brian Robinson Jr., which is kind of crazy to me when you think about it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, we got Ja'Cory. He's a rookie, 7th-round pick. That tells me that they think highly of him. They think that he could be a week 1 starter. And we kind of, I owe Ben Standig an apology because when he came out, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago, saying that Bill could be the week 1 starter, that's what makes a lot of sense now. It's Jordan Schultz, who is an NFL insider that came out with this news. So Jordan Schultz definitely knows someone to be coming out with this news. He's a very well-known NFL insider, dropping this news on us. But yeah, man. So the Commanders are actively searching for a trade partner for Brian Robinson Jr. What does this tell us? I don't know how much this tells us other than that, they're shopping him. Like, obviously, B-Rob, he's going into a contracting year. I feel like we weren't going to keep him this season, especially having Bill. Like, he was going to be gone after this season, so that's there. For 2, who's going to give up anything for B-Rob? Like, what are they? You got to be a pretty desperate running back team to trade for B-Rob. And, nowadays how these running backs are treated, you can kind of find them like just walking down the street, So to trade draft capital, trade anything for B-Rob would kind of be crazy. I don't think B-Rob's bad or anything. I just think he's a complimentary back. He does what he does well, which is, between the tackles. He's pretty solid between the tackles. Starts the season off pretty well, but once we get to that mid-season and late season, he gets, pretty banged up, and you kind of got to rest him or figure out ways to utilize him. But his stamina really isn't there later in the season. But it's this news is kind of news. It's kind of not news a little bit, because the reason why it's news is it tells us that they think highly of Bill, Ja'Cory Cross-Schemer, right? The fact that they're actively shopping him even now tells me that Bill, they're looking at Bill possibly as the starter, like Ben Standig said, right? The reason why I say it's not news is because they already weren't high on B-Rob going into the draft, and that tells you, from the players that they were thinking about drafting, them actually drafting a running back. By B-Rob's play, he hasn't gotten over 800 yards ever. It tells you that, his job really wasn't safe. So I'm not surprised that they're actively shopping him. But what I would be surprised about is if they cut him. If they end up cutting B-Rob, that'll really surprise me. Even if they end up trading him, depending on what they trade him for, like anything 5th round and below, I'll be surprised if the team offers a 5th round pick. 6th or 7th round, that would make more sense. Or a pick swap, we give you a 7th, and B-Rob, y'all give us a 6th. That would make sense too. But I would still be surprised if B-Rob was not on the roster come week 1. It doesn't make sense, because that's why this news is so, it's actual news. Like, it's surprising to me because we could still use a B-Rob on this roster unless they think. I was just listening to Rio, and he brought up a great point. Rio Robinson, shout out to Rio Robinson. He brought up a great point. Unless they think C-Rod, Chris Rodriguez Jr., can do what Brian Robinson Jr. does. If C-Rod can come in and be a B-Rob type back for us, a back that can play between the tackles, pretty much do what B-Rob does, it's no point to have B-Rob on the team. If Chris Rodriguez Jr. can do that. McNichols offers great. He can catch the ball out of backfield. He plays special teams. He can block his ass off in the passing game. So he plays a role. Obviously, they think highly of Bill if they're actively searching him around. But if B-Rob can possibly get cut if they think Chris Rodriguez can come in and fill B-Rob's role. So that's why I said this is news and not news, because we already know that most of the fan base and the coaching staff really don't think that highly of B-Rob, knowing that we were searching for running backs in the draft. You know what I'm saying? So, and almost all of the fan base wanted us to draft a running back pretty high. So, this is interesting. I personally don't think a team is going to be dumb enough to really offer a substantial, draft pick for B-Rob. But you never know. It wouldn't be hard. It wouldn't hurt to, test the waters, see what's out there, see what people are willing to offer for B-Rob. But Ben Standing, the fact that he said this isn't, when he came out with this news yesterday or the day before yesterday, the fact that he said this isn't based off of anything is funny to me. So he kind of just was thinking from what he saw, and then like a day or two later, they come out, Jordan Schultz releases that, the Commanders are shopping B-Rob. Like, that tells me that he might have been onto something. And I definitely got to give him his apology, because I was one of the people that was like, nah, it's no way. We can use him. I was under the thought process that if he wasn't on the roster week 1, that means he got released. Because I still don't think that anyone would be willing to trade for B-Rob. Now, that's not going to keep the team from trying to trade him. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to test the waters. You got to see what's out there. And if a team is willing to trade for B-Rob, I think you got to take it. Even if it's a pick swap, but that's only if Adam Peters believes that Chris Rodriguez Jr. can do the job of what Brian Rodriguez Jr. can do. So that's my 2 cents on it. But the overarching news about this coming out is that Bill's a real one. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt is a real one. They really think highly of it, and he could possibly be starting early on at some point in the season, right? So that is what I'm excited about. I honestly feel like I hope B-Rob is on this roster. I really hope he is, because as much as I want Bill to start, I don't want him, I want him to ease into it. I want him to ease into the role. I don't want him to just go straight into it and feel like he has to prove himself too early. I want him to have to work for those reps, and we ease him into it, and then we see him a game or two, and then he gets the starting job. But B-Rob, man, I do hope he's on the roster. But if you can get a 4th round pick for him, like if somebody offered a 4th round pick or even a 5th round pick, I would probably trade B-Rob. But the fact that they're actively shopping them this late into training camp, into the preseason, with 2 weeks away from the regular season, that tells me that they have enough on the roster to be successful. They feel like they have enough on the roster to be successful without Brian Robinson Jr. So that's all I had to say on that. Again, man, Jordan Schultz came out today, said that the Commanders are shopping B-Rob, trying to see what they can get from him. Again, I don't think he'll be traded, just because I don't think a team is dumb enough to really offer a substantial draft pick, maybe a pick swap. But the biggest news to me that this tells me is how good Bill is. It's what we've been talking about all season when we first looked at Bill. When we first had him the Commanders first had him in here for his top 30 visit, we were all like, who is Bill Crosky-Merritt? And then we immediately looked him up. And what did we find? A dog when he was at New Mexico State, a dog in his one game at Arizona, a dog when he played in the East-West Shrine Bowl. he was a complete dog. And most of us didn't know who he was unless you was a fan or you watched New Mexico State or you watched Arizona until we brought him in for that top 30 visit. Once he brought him in that top 30 visit, a lot of us started looking at him up like, oh my goodness, he's a dog. And then we drafted him, and then that's when a whole rack of our fans were starting to look into him, and then we figured out he's a dog. So this news that came out today supports the fact that he is a dog, and he is probably most likely going to be our starting running back for the 2025 season pretty early. So shout out to Bill, man. Shout out to Bill. I appreciate everybody joining in on this live, listening to me, but that's all I got for y'all. If any more news, hopefully we get a Terry update tonight or tomorrow. But if any more news come out and be hopping on live, man, I appreciate y'all. Please like this, please comment, please subscribe, hit that notification bar. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night, man. Peace out.